third annual ACC SEC Women's Basketball Challenge. They're throwing the U's up at the Watsco Center in Coral Gables. Miami getting ready to take on 17th ranked Kentucky as we tip off this terrific challenge. Two great teams that are looking for a non-conference marquee victory. We welcome you courtside. I got three-time Coach of the Year and a gold medalist, Nell Fortner. I'm Mario Masudi. Welcome back to TV, Coach.
Thanks a lot. Happy to be here.
Should be a lot of fun here tonight in Miami. Two teams that do it a little bit of different ways, but they've got excellent post players down low.
We are in for a treat tonight with post play, that's for sure, because both of these young ladies are excellent at what they do. On one side, you've got Miami, you've got Rashay Kyle. I mean, this kid can get it done on the block. When I walked into shoot around, she's 6'6". She looks 6'10" when you get near her, but she's got all the moves on the block that you could want. She's a preseason Lisa Leslie Award winner, but she has her hands full tonight because on the other side, on that Kentucky side, you've got Clara Strack coming at you. Now, this is the SEC returning Defensive Player of the Year. She leads the country in blocks. She is phenomenal in different places on the floor because not only on the block, she can stretch you from the three-point line at times also. This is a player that does not want to get in foul trouble. Well, neither one of these players want to get in foul trouble. They've got to guard each other.
Clara Strack leads the country in double-doubles as well. A walking double-double. Both of these players are. Rashay Kyle, phenomenal down low for Miami. How about the coaches in this one? You've got two that have followed similar paths, but they've done it a little bit of different ways as well, but they're making impacts at these programs.
Yeah, it's interesting. They both cut their teeth at the mid-major level with Kenny Brooks at James Madison, then moving on to Virginia Tech, where he takes that team to the Final Four. Now at Kentucky, and Trisha Cullop at Toledo for 16 years did an excellent job.
It's the Wildcats and the Canes. 8-1 for 17th ranked Kentucky. Big Blue Nation excited about what Coach Brooks has brought to the table here in year two. After 23 wins and a 4-seed 1 year ago, Miami, they've taken two top 25 teams to the brink in Iowa and Oklahoma State here this season already. Third annual ACC SEC Challenge is underway. Kentucky in those blues will attack in a travel there on Strack. Good physical defense from Miami early, forcing the turnover. Starting lineup for the Canes: Adams, Raviv, Kimson, Wetzel, and Kyle. Battling a bit of the injury bug are the Canes early here this season. Peterson will not play. Jessica Peterson for the Canes. As Adams pulls it out, 5 on the shot clock. Screen set, she's got to get something up, 2. At the horn, knocks it down. It rattled home for Anae Adams.
Well, that's what she does. She's got a beautiful pull-up jump shot, and she's super quick. So players that can play off the bounce, boy, those are nice to have.
Terrific look early for Hassett. Second chance opportunity. A phenomenal rebounding Kentucky basketball team.
You know, it's interesting, both of these teams already bringing that little extra help onto the post play, and you have to do that. Both of these post players are so good on that block.
Morgan had gotten to the basket, couldn't finish. Wetzel, nice pass inside. Kyle left it too strong, rebound to the Cats. They want to run in transition. Key, her shot blocked there. Ball is loose, out of bounds. And it'll be Canes basketball. A lot of energy from Miami early on.
You know, not surprised to see this block early on. Look, both of these teams are going to go for it. Kentucky, excellent blocking team, but Miami, they've got their share of them too.
Wetzel, backdoor cut to Adams, a fan favorite down here in Coral Gables. The attitude she brings each and every day, a tone setter, according to her head coach, Trisha Cullop. Miami leads with an early bucket. Gal Raviv, Israeli international team member. Her 3. Tap back out, another opportunity for the Canes.
It was fun watching Gal play. This young woman does a great job of playing off the bounce also. She has a great basketball IQ and is able to get shots off in tight spaces.
Obi looking for Strack. Inside 10 feet, so dangerous. Good defense, but Strack turnaround jumper is pure.
How smart is that by Kentucky? They see Raviv is down there having in transition defense, having to pick up Strack, and they go right to her.
Strack scored 27 points earlier this season in a homecoming game back in Buffalo, New York. Adams lets it rip from downtown, off to the right rebound. Strack, a walking double-double. Keep an eye out on that. Tied at 2. Strack ball fake attack. On that left block, turns, jumper. Offensive rebound, Key, the transfer from North Carolina, and she's fouled.
Well, you know you're going to hear from Trisha Cullip right now, because a little bit maybe Tiana Key went over the back right there to get that rebound, but you're just not always going to get those calls. Post players, you're aggressive, and coaches, your coach is yelling at you, go get their offensive rebound, right? But Trisha not happy with that call. No call.
Tiana Key knocks down the first free throw, 73% on the year. Transfer from 2 seasons ago out of the ACC in Carolina. Defensively pretty strong 1 year ago, has seen her offensive game grow this season too.
Yeah, and I think another area where she could really get some extra points is how fast she can run the floor. She gets up and down baseline to baseline pretty quick.
Looking for Kyle inside, terrific defense by Strack, was fronting Kyle, near travel. Key was able to hold on to it. Morgan, the transfer from Georgia Tech, a star in the ACC for 3 seasons. And my partner to my right, sitting down here, knows her well. Obi at the right block, count it, and 1. It's Jordan Obi, she'll go to the line.
This is a player that, I tell you, Jordan Obi, just that strong guard. Look at this, her body, first of all. She's a post player for 3-4 years at Penn, and now she's a perimeter player playing off the bounce. But she's so strong, draws the foul. But the most important thing about that play is she finished the shot after getting hit.
A terrific athlete who ruptured an Achilles prior to last season. Her debut for the Cats this year, 15 points, 15 rebounds, showing you the potential of what Obi can do here for Big Blue Nation this season.
Oh, I think we're going to see her do a lot more when the SEC season gets here. She's settled into this play.
Early action for Danielle Osho, the freshman from the Atlanta area. Adams, baseline drive. Little lightning bug. Kyle banks it in. Banks open here after 5 in Miami.
That's going to be really helpful for Miami if they can get Kyle hitting some shots from that free throw line area.
7-4, Cats. Strack. Little long, found the loose ball. Now here's Morgan. 16 assists, 0 turnovers in a game earlier this season. On the attack, you see it there. Has the ability to really turn the corner and get a shoulder down and draws the foul. She'll go to the line.
Well, I'll tell you what, Ari, I've saw that for 3 years, her being able to get past any kind of defender to get herself to the basket. And this is one thing that Toni Morgan is really, really good, playing off the bounce. Now, the finish right there, she got a little out of whack on the finish, but she does get herself to the free throw line, and she thrives in that kind of a game.
Leads the NCAA in assists with nearly 80, and second in the country with nearly 9 assists per game, as she knocks down the first free throw, averaging nearly 12 points early here in her senior season from Tallahassee, Florida. Where has she grown the most from what you've seen from her time at Tech now here in Kentucky?
Yeah, in her assists, because she averaged 5 assists when she was at Georgia Tech. And it was always, you know, you've got to be able to involve your teammates, and she's doing that really well this season at Kentucky.
And the Cats lead by 5. Rashea Kyle on the catch, working against Strack. Double team comes, forces the turnover. Morgan intercepts the pass. In transition, on the fast break. Her shot off the mark, rebound. Tried to go back up with it, goes out of bounds. It'll stay with Kentucky.
Yeah, that's a tough finish right there. Or, you know, you come down, she got the rebound, and that one might have wanted to pass that one back out and see what kind of offense they could have gotten out of that. But Toni is really, really aggressive when she gets to the basket.
Strack left open for the mid-range jumper, and it rattles all the way out.
Did that ball go in and literally came right back out?
I think the bucket was deciding if it liked how the ball tastes. Not on that one. Jump ball. Possession arrow will stay with Miami, but active defensively is this Kentucky team. They were really good 1 year ago defensively in the SEC. They're hoping to take that thing to another level here this year.
Well, when you can lead the country in block shots, that definitely that sets a tone for your team. First of all, don't bring that ball into this paint area because you're not going to get it to the rim. Everybody's very, very aggressive when it gets into that paint area to not allow a shot to be taken.
Coach, they've had every opponent on the defensive side to 40% or less on the year from the floor. And see the numbers to support it. Those near 9 blocks per game.
Yeah, holding a team to 48 points a game is not easy. It doesn't matter who your opponent is, how good or what level they play at. That's a really good effort.
Raviv step back jumper, that is nice. Oh, Gal Raviv. And now a turnover.
Yeah, an unforced turnover, and that's something that'll bother your coach.
9-6, Kentucky leads early in Coral Gables. Now the Cavener twins and Michael Irvin. Some legends down here at the U taking in this game. Star-studded lineup we've got here for the Cats and the Canes.
Look.
And how about a star that's building in Lexington? Because Kenny Brooks has Kentucky moving in the right direction.
He definitely does. He's an excellent recruiter. He builds great relationships with his recruits. One of my players in Canada, Savvy Swords, signed with him in November, and she can't wait to get here and play for him. Just loves her relationship with him.
Talked about their turnover here, learning about this version of the Cats as much as they're learning about him. Open three, Boone knocks it down. Asia Boone can really rip it, 37% on the year.
Now that's what you get when your point guard makes a really good decision. She gets shut down on the penetration. She kicks it. They swing that ball around the perimeter, and Asia Boone, excellent three-point shooter, knocks it down.
Instant offense off the bench for Kentucky is Boone. 5 games in double figures this season. Raviv calls her own number from 3.
You hit one, I hit one. That's what she said right there. Gal Raviv just has no fear on this basketball court. That's what I love about watching her play.
Gal was a star in the Mid-American Conference. Is Morgan all the way to the bucket.
Yeah, going to her left. She's really good going to her left right there. And that's one thing that Miami needs to try and shut down. She likes that side better than her right.
I asked Tony earlier today at shoot-around what she thought of her first few months in Lexington. She said, I love it. Big Blue Nation. Nothing quite like that fan base. She said, I'm really loving my time.
Yep, they packed the house.
Long rebound, tapped out of bounds. It'll be Kentucky ball.
So you see right here her going off that left hand. That's her strong suit right there. Not her, even though she's right-handed, she likes to go left and probably is a much better finisher that direction.
Tony graduated in 3 years at Georgia Tech. Nearly 1,300 career points for the Jackets under my partner, Nell Fortner.
Yep, she did a little bit of everything for us, no doubt about it.
How do you think she changes the complexion for the Cats this season?
Well, she gives them a true point guard presence after losing Georgia Amore last year that played for Kenny for so many years at Virginia Tech and then came to Kentucky. So he was in need of a point guard, and now here's Tony Morgan, totally different kind of point guard, but still knows how to run a team.
Love a quote earlier this season. Somebody asked Kenny Brooks in the media, do you think that Tony can fill Georgia Amore's shoes? And Kenny said, I told Tony to bring her own shoes.
I love that. And let me tell you, I don't know if there's another point guard that can fill Georgia Amore's shoes. She was a unique style of player with an incredibly high IQ.
2 on the clock. At the buzzer, jumper is there for Adams.
There she is again, that pull-up jumper.
She's got 4 early points. Morgan, mid-range pull. Kyle rebounds. 14-11 Cats. Back and forth we go in Coral Gables. Adams feeling hot here in the first quarter. Too strong offensive putback. That one no good. Rebound clean there by Key.
It's a good look by Kyle right there. I like the going back up with it.
Approaching 2 minutes to play in this opening stanza. Strack against Kyle. Double team came. Key. Long jumper. Grazed the front iron. Rebound to the Canes. Here comes Raviv.
How often do you see a 4 and a 5 player setting ball screens for each other? That's unique.
How about the blow by Gal Raviv right to the basket.
There she is. She just wants to play basketball and does it at a really high level.
Boone's three rattles out. It'll be Miami basketball. Third annual ACC SEC Challenge continues here on ESPN2 and the ESPN app. After our game wraps up, 9th-ranked Oklahoma hosts NC State, and we cap the night with number 19 Tennessee and Stanford at Maples Pavilion. This ACC SEC Challenge always brings about some of the best non-conference matchups in the game.
I think it's a great idea to have it too. Early in December, you get these high-level matchups, and the conference offices try to match it up.
The previous out-of-bounds play has been appealed by Kentucky.
As much as they can predict what the teams are going to look like the following year, but you get these natural rivalries kind of built, and it's a fan favorite. It has to be, because you want to play another conference and a high-level player.
No doubt about that. We've got an appeal here at the Watsco Center by Kentucky staff. That's Joseph Vasili and Angelica Suffren.
Oh, yeah. They gave it to Miami, but that looks like it came off of Miami's hands instead of Kentucky.
Vittoria Blazic, number 15 there on your screen. What do you think? Successful appeal?
I think it's going to be Kentucky's ball. But I'm not looking at the monitor. You know, sometimes I don't always agree with the officials. like most of the times I didn't agree. But
I think we'll have Teresa Struck hopefully come give us an explanation. You'll see it on your screen here from Joseph Vasili.
The out-of-bounds call has been reversed. Kentucky will receive the ball on the sideline. Game clock will be reset to 1:34.
Successful appeal there. And, Coach, you're 1 for 1 now on your appeal.
Well, okay. Are we keeping track of that?
If you bat 1,000, yes.
You know, I like how fast it went. It didn't take them long to do it. The tough ones are when it takes a long time to figure it out.
So some TV time for our officials as well. You got to be well balanced now, right, as a ref?
Yes, you do.
Morgan and the Cats lead by 1. Boone off the dribble drive, stops, ball deflected. Adams strips it away. Kick out, open three. That rattles off the rim, rebound cleans by Key.
Well, I like how Tiana Key is really cleaning up the boards for Kentucky. It's an area where she can really thrive.
Mid-range jumper there from Strack. Won't go down, but a foul away from the basket. I believe that was Obi battling for the offensive rebound. And the foul goes on Tipner.
You know, the size of Kentucky alone really is, it can be pretty intimidating, but it definitely helps them on the boards. But Miami has pretty good size too, just with Kyle to begin with, and now they've got Osho in the game, nice 6'1", 6'2" player. They can get pretty big themselves.
Kentucky, the tallest team in Cats history here this season after having that mark 1 year ago. Only South Carolina is taller in the SEC, 9 players over 6 feet. I wonder why they're so good in defense. Long arms, big bodies. Trisha Cullop called them trees to her team earlier today in shoot around. 4 on the clock, now 3. Key attacks the basket and she flips it in.
Okay, I'm just going to tell you, that was impressive right there. Tiana Key putting the ball on the floor from the free throw line and really drove hard and finished the shot. That's a luxury to have when you have your 4 and your 5 player can both handle the ball and play off the bounce a little bit.
Yeah, creating for themselves. In the corner, triple, off the mark. Shot clock is off. Morgan slams the brakes. Kentucky leads 16-13 by 3. Morgan, lefty layup, too strong. Time for Miami. With 3, Adams. With 2, pulls at the horn, off to the right. And that is how our first quarter of basketball in this ACC SEC Women's Challenge ends.
Well, right here, Kentucky trying to run a little pick and roll right here. But look at this drive by the 4-player, Tiani Keefe. He's come to play today.
Year 2 for Trisha Cullop in this Miami program, and she promised that this version is bigger, stronger, and faster. Lost all 5 starters from a year ago. You see it there, 12 new players, 7 transfers. They've done a really nice job for her here in year 2.
Yeah, making that all come together and mesh and get that chemistry on the floor is not an easy thing to do. So it takes work, it takes time. But today in this game, Miami's defense is really starting to pay off for them because it's been very difficult for Kentucky to have any easy looks at the basket.
Adams was able to get all the way to the 10 and just couldn't flip it in. Miami, they did have 4 points off Kentucky turnovers, 4 of them in that first quarter. Low scoring quarter here in Coral Gables. Here's Key, top of the key. Strack, mid-range jumper, back iron. Great box out there from Kimson. She'll lead the break. Raviv, who's got 1-3, passed it up. Kimson on the drive. And a foul called. Nice physical take from Soma Okolo. Strong freshman from Leander, Texas.
You know, it feels like Miami right now is moving the ball really well. They're not rushing shots. They're not taking really bad shots. They're moving the ball, being unselfish. And now here they are, got herself to the line right here.
Couldn't connect, though, on the first of 2.
Got to take advantage of those opportunities when you get yourself there.
Colo just 62% on the season. Limited opportunities, though.
She's such a phenomenal athlete. You know, just her ability to rise up is one thing, but she still has developing to do in her game. But, boy, if she puts that work in, she's going to be one heck of a player.
The athleticism combined with the wingspan, right, is part of the reason they thought that she could make an impact today. We're talking about Miami's coaching staff on Okolo. 2-point advantage for the visiting Cats. And another turnover.
Just the activity of the Miami defense is really putting a bit of a rush on these Kentucky players, and it's creating like that turnover right there. But they're active. They're not backing down from anything. They're really being very aggressive.
Foul called on the Cats. Well, it's a Miami team who's playing their 3rd-ranked opponent in the last 2 weeks, and they took Iowa and Oklahoma State to the brink. One in the Cayman Islands, one in Orlando. Had an opportunity to tie in both at the buzzer.
You know, and those kind of losses right there, it's like, again, they've got 12 new players. They're trying to find that chemistry. They've got to learn how to believe in each other and trust in each other in those moments when you have an opportunity to win a close game. And that's why I think today's game is incredibly important for Miami. You know, because if they can keep this thing close, can they win it out?
Yeah, that's a good point, too, is that ball will stay with the Canes on this side of the floor. It was at practice yesterday, and Trisha Cullop was really getting into her team about that's the difference, is the energy and the focus, the consistency to beat top 25 level teams.
Yeah. And you just can't, look, chemistry cannot be underrated. Chemistry is important. Trust is important when you get in these kind of close games.
Okolo all the way to the rim herself.
Okay, that was a really nice move. She is showing us her speed and quickness, but again, she still has a very, very high ceiling.
She's already at her season average in points at 3 a game. Morgan, oh, no look pass. Good find to Key. Key wasn't maybe quite ready for it. How about this drive from Okolo?
Yeah, really nice move right here. Remember, she's just a freshman and not afraid to just keep going. That's a hard drive to stop. There needed to be some help trying to come over, but right down the middle of the floor, there is no help.
Colo had 10 points, 7 rebounds against George Washington. And that comeback win for the Canes. Kimson able to float it home.
Just Miami finishing at a higher clip than what Kentucky is able to do right now. They're playing with a lot of confidence.
Rachi Kimson, 3-level scorer from Little Elm, Texas. Phenomenal player at UNLV 1 year ago. Led the team in points per game at 15. Actually leads Miami against ranked opponents with 18 points per game in those 2 contests. Before the basket, Canes fans wanted to travel, but a foul was called on Miami.
Yeah, I can see where they would want the travel, but maybe the foul created what looked like the travel right here. But again, Tiani Key, well, a little bit of the shuffle, but that's a tough, I don't know. I'm not an official. I would just argue if I was Tricia. Just keep arguing.
Coach Fortner probably would have wanted the travel, right?
I would have been arguing, yeah.
I like it. Broadcast coach Fortner is a bit more diplomatic. Obi, fadeaway jumper off to the right, rebound. Kyle up ahead to Adams. She can really jet. Screen set, she'll use it. Try to get to the rim. She's bumped. Foul called on Boone.
You know, the tough thing about that ball screen coverage right there is if you let Adams turn the corner, that's going to be really hard to slow her down. So she turns the corner, and if you're not in front of her or you don't have somebody waiting on her like Strack waiting there to show her a wall, then that's going to be really hard to stop her without fouling.
It's already 3 fouls on Kentucky. Now an offensive foul on Miami by Pettigrew.
Yeah, and those are calls that'll drive coaches crazy too, because sometimes they look set, maybe they were, but the defense is playing so hard to get around it. That's just a really hard call. I'm not disagreeing with the call. I'm just saying it's a tough call.
They're actually giving the foul to Adams.
Oh.
And that is her second. Did you see her hook?
No, that's interesting. I didn't see that.
So it is going to Adams and not Pettigrew. Miami leads by 2.
That's unfortunate because Adams has to come off the floor with 2 in the first half.
Yeah, her energy was really palpable for her team. Another turnover for Kentucky, a bit sloppy here early on the road in Coral Gables. We're at the Watsco Center. Aria Masudi, Nell Fortner, our entire group. First game of the ACC SEC Women's Basketball Challenge as Kimson did everything but finish. Now Morgan down to one knee. Strack shoots and missed everything in air ball. And Tony Morgan slow to get up.
Look, she's a tough kid. We'll see. Go walk that off a little bit. Let that foot slid on the floor a little bit and maybe tweaked it, but she's competitive. She'll be back.
Hopefully just a stinger for Morgan, who's been so important for Kentucky.
You know, the interesting note here, Claire Strack being 1 for 7 from the field right now, and that's something that Kentucky's not used to playing with. You know, they're used to playing with 4 for 7, 5 for 7 from the field from Claire Strack. And so it's difference making when now you're trying to find your points in other ways, playing from behind. So it puts a little more pressure on shots.
Is there something Miami's done that you've liked against Strack?
I think they're crowding her. They're being physical with her. Nothing is easy. There's no easy look for Claire Strack, except if she's shooting a 3. And they're not really getting up there and crowding her there.
Reeve able to create her own shot. Just off the mark. Loose ball to Kentucky as it goes out of bounds.
You know, Pettigrew's come in for Miami, number 4, and to rest Rashea Kyle, and has really done a pretty good job with just physicality. and defending hard, and that's really all she has to do. You just have to let me get my post player a rest and just hold it down defensively.
Here comes the double now to Strack. Obi back to Strack, ball fake, under 10 on the clock. Terrific feed, and Obi finishes. How about Strack in the vision there?
Well, great vision. Look, you know, when she started playing basketball, she was small. And so she started as a guard, and then she hit this growth spurt, right? Well, she had some ball handling skills, some passing skills, and so it's really served her well. She's really a good assist player on the floor. But you got to have players that are cutting and moving as she gets doubled.
Terrific drive all the way to the bucket there by Blazig. That is Vicky Blazig, the Italian, who starred in the American Conference at USF 1 year ago, where she was the freshman of the year in the American. Miami leads by 2. Spirited effort led by the defense. Open three, Boone. Knocked down her first attempt, has missed the last couple. Kentucky getting some looks, just not knocking them down, shooting just 27% so far early in this one.
Feels like the Miami defense, the physicality of it is speeding them up. They're taking away Strack, and so they're playing a little more uncomfortably within things that they're running and how they're trying to score.
The Wildcats played a physical game on the road against rival Louisville earlier this season. And they used a third quarter spurt to pull away and win that game by double digits in the end. Strack fires away and knocks it down. That is all 3 of those for Clara Strack.
That's a difference-making shot for a player like Clara Strack. You're a 4, you're a 5, and you can stretch that floor. That is a luxury to have as a coach.
That is one area she has really improved in, is the shot from beyond the arc. Started at Virginia Tech with Kenny Brooks. As the triple there from Kimson, no. Strack, who impacts the game in so many different ways for Kentucky, offensively, defensively. The Cats lead by 1. Open look for Raviv. Not able to knock it down, and Strack takes a tumble to the deck. A foul on Miami and Pettigrew.
Yeah, just because you're 6'6" doesn't mean you have to just live on the block. You can step out there and shoot a 3. Clara Strack does it at a pretty good percentage.
In rhythm, you guys. We'll see you in a few minutes.
All right, Kelsey, Megan, appreciate you. Talk to you in a few. Kentucky by 1. Tony Morgan brings the ball up the court. The Cats, 17th ranked team in the country. Only loss was to Maryland in a top 25 showdown in Puerto Rico. 3 ball. That one's short. Offensive rebounds. That's Hassett. So a second chance now for Kentucky.
There's where that Kentucky size really pays off right there, because Millie Hassett is much bigger than those Miami guards.
Hassett's still looking to get going. She's got no points. Averages 11 per game so far this season. Millie has been a bright spot for the Cats here in the early going of this 2025-2026 season. He's looking for Kyle. Too much on it. And Kyle might have been coming up to set a screen. Was not expecting the pass. So a turnover for Miami. That is the 5th for the Canes.
Yeah, just some miscommunication there, and that goes back to, again, you got a lot of players that are new to each other and still maybe trying to figure each other out. Season is still a little bit young.
Strack baseline, pivots. It's tough to get around Rashea Kyle. Give Kyle the block. Canes in transition. Adams, her shot blocked from behind, out of bounds. Stays with Miami.
Did that not look like a double block? It looked like Tony Morgan got some, Clara Strack got some of that. That's a team that knows that we are going to protect the rim.
You're going to take another look at that. See who it went out off of. Kentucky's 1 of 9 in this quarter from the floor.
Yeah, it's just
Previous out-of-bounds play has been appealed by Kentucky.
You have to credit Miami's defense. They are doing everything they can to make it hard for Kentucky. But look at this. That's Morgan gets the block. And then I can't tell if Adams' left hand came up and hit the ball. We might be able to see it here. Okay, I'm not getting involved. I'm not going to get involved in that one, but you can clearly see Tony blocks it, but you just can't tell if Adams gets a touch on it from the angle of that camera.
Diplomatic TV now.
I'm being very diplomatic, absolutely.
I like it.
But again, you see how, I mean, the Kentucky defense is really geared to not let you have anything easy at the rim. I can't tell if her left hand came back and touched it, but you need like a camera on the other side of the court looking. But
and you do need enough there to be able to overturn it.
I would just say Adams is brave to try to get in there and get a layup. That's not an easy shot for anybody to get against Kentucky's shot blocking machine going on in that paint.
To your point on the defense for Kentucky, they have held Miami without a point for over 3 minutes now, despite their own scoring drought of over 2 minutes.
Yeah, and that's what you have to do. You know, your defense can never let you down. All defense is just heart and soul and guts and heart. You know, sometimes the shot doesn't fall. Sometimes it takes a while to get the offense cranked up. But as long as your defense is still keeping pace and still keeping you in the game, then you can, you know, your offense can always catch up as the game goes.
ACC SEC Challenge. Got 11 top 25 teams, 16 games on the ESPN family of networks. Gotta love it. I mean, this is awesome. We talked about it a little bit earlier, both the women's side and the men's side. Opportunities for marquee non-conference victories here as we go back to Joseph Vasili.
The result of the view is that the call stands. Miami will receive the ball. Kentucky will be charged a 30-second timeout.
Well, Kentucky gets the block, so that's a positive thing, but they don't get the ball back.
It's almost like shooting from the free throw line, right? You go 1 or 2, you felt like you wanted both, you got to take one.
Yep.
You missed the first, you got to get the second, right? How about the action at the rim there? Kyle, she's fouled. And she'll go to the line. Miami crashing the glass that time. That was one thing you and I were talking about in the commercial breaks, their need to get back to the glass.
Yeah, look, again, Kentucky not making it easy ever to try to get in there and get a layup. But Kyle gets the rebound, but what happens there, 2 of them went after the ball, and that leaves Kyle with not being boxed out.
Kyle misses the free throw. How about 18-18 so far on rebounds for both teams? Miami's keeping pace.
I was just telling you, they're battling. I mean, this is a game that they're both battling and fighting to win.
And Rashea splits them. So we're tied at 21. Tony Morgan handles the rock, calls out instructions under 90 seconds to go. Now in the second quarter. Takes her defender all the way to the cup herself. Count it, and what?
Well, you want to say it's about time. You know, she's gotten there many times, but she hadn't finished it. So that's a really good, strong finish with the and one right here. But I know Tony's probably really has been frustrated up to this point because she hadn't been able to finish it. But now she needs to reward herself by getting this and one, knocking down this free throw.
So much body control for Tony Morgan to be able to absorb the contact. She's got 6 points. You know, Nell, she described herself in 3 words as smooth, a playmaker, and a floor general. That's 4 words.
Yeah.
3 phrases.
Yeah, gotcha.
Would you agree with those?
Yeah, I think so. I think she is a smooth kind of player. I think where she's got to become even smoother, though, is when she does get herself to the rim, that she can finish off of 2 feet in a way that she can finish or draw the foul.
Feels like an important final minute of this second quarter for both teams. Kimson to tie it. Too strong, long rebound into the Kentucky bench. And the Cats will have it with a little over 53 seconds left. So the defensive first half here in Coral Gables. Kentucky by 3. Morgan, a little sauce, couldn't shake the defender there. Strack, her jumper is pure.
Now, that's simple basketball right there. You fed her on the block. They didn't come with the double. She does a little reverse pivot and knocks it down. That was really nice basketball, simple basketball.
Strack has 7 points now in this first half. He's able to knock it out of bounds.
And the one thing Miami has to be careful of, they're probably really happy that halftime is here, because if Strack found her rhythm right now, because that was a really nice rhythm shot, but now she's got to go sit for 15 minutes.
That's a foul on Strack as Kyle took it right into her chest. Rashea Kyle, they call her Big Shay. I was told that's what she wants to be referred to, is Big Shay.
Well, look, when I was expecting 6'6", she looks 6'8" to me. I'm not kidding. When she came walking in today, that is not 6'6". She's a heck of an athlete. Yeah, a really nice looking athlete that's developed her game and really developed into a nice post player.
A rare 6th-year senior is Rashea Kyle, who's now played in 3 different conferences. Purdue in the Big Ten, with the Florida Gators in the SEC, and now with the Miami Hurricanes in the ACC.
Look, I remember when she was at Purdue as a freshman. I want to say we played them, and she was nowhere near the player she is now. So she was really good coming out of high school, but she's much better right now, much more confident player. That maturity definitely is a nice thing to have on your team also.
122nd career game playing college basketball, a real calming influence for the Canes. Shot clock is up. Cats by 3. Morgan controls. Now with 4. Morgan on the attack, turning, fading, one-handed jumper is off the mark. And the horn sounds. 26-23, Kentucky, who's been perfect so far when leading at the break. ACC, SEC challenge here in Coral Gables. Let's go back to the studio, Kelsey and Megan. The ACC, SEC Women's Basketball Challenge, full of emotion. Trisha Cullip and the Canes looking for a marquee non-conference victory. They've had a couple of chances. The Cats have been tough all year long, but they found it tough going up against Rashea Kyle and these Canes. Coach Fortner, Aria Masudi, a lot of fun so far in that first half. It was a defensive-minded opening stanza here in Coral Gables. What do you think so far? Yeah,
the defense has been outstanding really on both sides of the ball. They've really bothered Claire Strack, their inside game. You can tell they're focused on shutting her down, because every time she gets the ball, there's a crowd. There's a crowd maybe from the corner, from the backside. Puts it on the floor, somebody's coming at you. So nothing has been easy for Claire Strack, but if she can get going, if she can catch and release the ball quicker, maybe she has an opportunity to get hot a little bit right now. We'll see what happens. And look, on the other side, Gal Raviv, this kid is such a good ball handler. She's able to create her shot anywhere on the floor and really at any time on the floor. She can score at 3 levels. I like how quickly she got that layup off before it had a chance to get blocked.
It's a Kentucky team who averaging north of 82 points per game on the year. Top 25 in the country, only 26 in that opening half. Turnover early on there by Miami. And the Cats lead simply because of their defense. They held Miami to 23% shooting in that second quarter. You see the leaders there at the bottom of your screen. It's been the Strack and Morgan show. Raviv and Kyle have held the pace for the Canes. Terrific feed. And a wonderful look there for Tiani Key.
Okay, that's beautiful basketball right there. Pick and roll at the highest level right there. Beautiful pass by Tony Morgan and finish by Tiani Key. That's why ball screen defense is incredibly hard to play, and you've got to be on point to shut things down.
Well, Gibson found herself all alone at the top of the key for 3. and missed it all.
You know, it's a good sign for Kentucky to come out and score right away off that pick and roll. Let's see if they run it again.
Kentucky was one of the best teams in the SEC a year ago. The 4 seed for the SEC tournament and a 4 seed in the NCAA tournament. Looking to take another major step this season. Off to a good start at 8-1. This would be a tough win on the road if they can get it. As Obi, a clean look. Strack, offensive rebound, and she finishes.
Really nice O-board by Strack, but did you notice how they cleared out the whole side Strack was on to not let any help come in from the ball side, out of the corner, from the wing. She had that whole side to work by herself.
Well, Strack started this game 1 for 7 from the floor. She's hit 3 of her last 4 shots. One of the stars in the SEC coming to life. That 3-ball rims out. Offensive rebound, Kyle. Backdoor cut on the feed. That's nice there from Wetzel. Natalie Wetzel, the freshman. They really like what she can do here in Miami. As Strack wide open for 3, you don't want to do that. And a foul.
Yeah, if they're going to get Key over the top right there on that O-board. Right there, yeah, that's an easy call to make. Hey, I could have made that call over here, all right, even without the replay.
First foul on Key.
But I like the aggressiveness to the boards because she'd been doing that in the first half, going to the boards hard.
Strack chases the ball down in the backcourt, feeds it there, 3-ball, yes. Hassett, she's on the board.
Boy, Kentucky's come out here hot right now. It'll be interesting to see how long Tricia Cullip waits to call a timeout to not let Kentucky get heated up. 3s in transition. Ooh, those are nice.
Lead swells to 8. Hassett's first points of the game. Junior college All-American at Eastern Florida Junior College. 6'4" senior from Australia. Miami needs a bucket. Looking to get one, count it. And guess who? It's Arachi Kimson. And she'll have the hoop in the heart.
You know, she's not very tall, but she's strong, no doubt. But right here, a 3 in transition. Really smart play by Strack. The come behind by Millie Hassett and knocks it down. That's good basketball.
For Kentucky, that is their 3rd made 3-point shot here of this game. They averaged nearly 10 a contest. They've had 5 different games with at least 10 threes made. As the free throw on the bonus is good. 5-point advantage for the Cats. Morgan guarded by Kimson.
Trying
10
to
on the shot clock.
Trying to set that pick and roll again. Oh, what a finish. I tell you, if you don't, you've got to get someone in front of a guard coming off of a screen. And Toni Morgan is one of the best coming off that screen. There's no hedge, there's no ice, nobody is in front of her. That's a good, strong basketball by Toni Morgan.
When she gets to her right hand, she's pretty special, isn't she?
Well, she's really better with her left hand.
Really?
Yeah. Yeah, she likes going to her left better. So it looks like Miami's giving her the right.
She's had a number of finishes there with the right hand this evening. And she converts.
She's had a number of misses too, though, you know. But she's coming out here, looks like maybe a little more focused or determined to score.
Kentucky had just 10 points in the second quarter, already have 10 points in the third quarter. Sharper on offense, and it's because of their defense. Forcing another turnover. Blood in the water potentially. Hassett can't knock it down. Offensive rebounds. Second chance, Morgan. She'll let it fly. She knocks it down. Timeout taken by Miami. Kenny Brooks loves it. And Toni Morgan and the Cats coming out hot here in the third quarter.
Well, 3 is the one thing that'll get you fired up more than anything, and Toni Morgan not afraid to pull it. Oh, yeah.
Toni Morgan, special here in this third quarter. What do you like about your former point guard?
Well, you know, you can't shrink from the moment. And you come out, you want to win this game. And she came out at halftime and put her head down and said, let's go to work. And so an and one, she scores it. And then the three, yep, she's got her team rolling.
And the way Toni Morgan has done it at all three levels here tonight. Another turnover for Miami. Kentucky leads by double digits. Trying to apply a dagger midway through the third quarter and really take control of this game. Free throw line, what a pass, Kiati. Wow, Tiani Key on the feed from Morgan.
That's just beautiful basketball right there, and Toni read that perfectly. I love how Tiani's really rolling hard to the basket, and Toni's patient with seeing the pass.
Toni Morgan had a game earlier this season with 16 assists and no turnovers in the contest against Morgan State.
You know, we saw this at the beginning of the half too, this little pick and roll right here. But nice job of rolling to the basket. Kyle is too deep on that. She has to leave. It opens up the block, and there's nobody to drop down there and help on that roll.
Coach, when you have a guard like Toni Morgan who can beat the initial defender, how does that open up the rest of the offense?
Oh, it's awesome. It's a wonderful thing to have. And Toni has even an opportunity to become better at that also.
Talked to her earlier today about the confidence that comes with just the experience in college basketball. She said she really feels the game out for what it needs as a foul on the floor. And Toni said, some games my team needs me to pass the ball. Some games they need me to score the ball. And I've gotten better at understanding which game that requires.
Yeah, she has. And I think you can go back to that game where she had the 16 assists and 0 turnovers. And she knew her team was shooting the ball well, and she didn't have to shoot it, so she delivered it.
And the maturity to say, you know, some games I'm only going to score 8 points, and she has another bucket, and I'm okay with that.
Yeah, she's feeling it right now, though. Right now, she's feeling it at all levels.
Leads all scorers with 15. Okolo to the rack, block shot by Clara Strack. Set the school record 1 year ago for blocks and blocks per game. The SEC leader. Strack's done a nice job adjusting right to this one.
Yeah, she has. Kentucky just seems like they're playing at a different level after halftime. So the adjustments, the conversation in half is definitely, we're seeing a different Kentucky team right now. I don't think they're not shy. They're not holding back.
They're doing it defensively.
Well, they are. And here we're going to see a block right here. And this is what Strack does so well. I'll take that. Get that out of here.
Kentucky outscoring Miami 17-5 in this quarter. Coach, what have they done well?
Well, the halftime couldn't have come sooner or at a better time for Kentucky because the adjustments they made, they look like a different team to me. They've come out much more confident, much more solid in what they're doing offensively. And how about 4 steals from Clara Strack on the defensive end? So they're playing at a much higher level right now than what Miami is playing. Miami, boy, for 2 quarters looking good. They've got to up their tempo right now to hang with Kentucky.
Miami had 5 turnovers, as you saw, in this quarter. They've got them. They only had 5 going into the locker room break at halftime. So the defensive intensity has skyrocketed for Kentucky, who now has 18 points off Miami turnovers.
Yep, I think you're seeing the difference that Clara Strack can make when she's really playing at that high confident level and locked in. Not that she wasn't in the first half because Miami's defense was tough, but right now she's playing at a little bit of a different level.
Obi's 2 free throws swells the lead to 17. Nay Adams on a cutting teammate. Kyle, offensive rebound. Okolo, now Blase. Second chance opportunity for the Canes. Raviv, mid-range jumper, that's good. Nice looking jumper from Raviv.
And she's a player that can get her team going right here. She's going to have to step up offensively some and really be a little more aggressive. And I don't know, I'm going to use the word selfish, but not in the way that you would think. But sometimes you have to take more shots just to get your team woke up.
Morgan was wide open, top of the key. Rattled out. Raviv with the basketball leads Miami with 9 points. She's had 3 20-point performances this season. 29 of them against George Washington. A whistle away from the ball as a trio of players tumble to the deck. I want to remind you what a great top 25 men's college basketball matchup we have this Friday on ESPN2 and the ESPN app. Number 11 Gonzaga takes on 18th ranked Kentucky. This is the 4th game in a 6-year series, with the Zags winning 2 of the first 3. Coverage beginning at 7 Eastern from Bridgestone Arena in Nashville. A little Music City madness between the Zags and the Cats.
That foul was on Boone from Kentucky. It looked like she was a bowling ball going through some bowling pins on that one.
A whistle away from the ball, foul underneath the hoop on Kentucky. That's on Key. That is her 3rd foul. We'll see if Coach Brooks takes her off the court or not.
Yeah, you can't let her pick up her 4th foul this early in the 3rd quarter. She's been a really nice factor for Kentucky today.
No, Florida, about 4 hours from Miami.
Yeah, but a player getting a little more playing time as she continues to grow her game at Kentucky. You know, she had a game, I think, this year, 6 for 7 from the 3-point line. But she's earning herself some more minutes, so she's able to find her way in this tough Southeastern Conference.
No doubt about it. Against Monmouth, had those 6 threes, 6 of 7 in that one. That was the highest percentage in a game for a Kentucky Wildcat in over 10 years. Morgan mid-range. Offensive rebound, Strack, so talented, so tough.
Really beautiful offensive rebound and strong putback right there. You know, she falls to the ground. She's, 6'5", getting up off the ground. That's not real fast. She had to hurry up and get back down the floor.
Blazik's 3, top of the key. Offensive rebound, Adams sticks it back in.
Well, the smallest player on the floor for Miami right there grabs the biggest rebound and gets the putback. She competes. That kid competes.
She's fun, isn't she?
Yeah, she is.
Obi with a right hand, she's fouled. And Jordan will head to the line. Foul on Kyle. And for Big Shea, that's just her 1st foul.
You know, Shea is, she's a physical player in there. For her to only have 1 foul right now, I'm impressed with that. You have to be smart to be that physical and only have 1 foul in the 3rd quarter. So good job by her.
Third annual ACC-SEC Women's Basketball Challenge wraps up tomorrow night. SMU hosting Arkansas at 7 Eastern right here on ACC Network and the ESPN app. Nobi, 1 more free throw, averaged 14 points a game in the Ivy League at Penn. 3-time All-Conference honoree with the Penn Quakers. She's played well so far here tonight. 7 points, 6 rebounds. It's a Miami team who hit 6 shots from the floor in the 1st quarter and have only hit 6 total since. Now midway through and now towards the end of the 3rd. That's a beautiful move and a finger roll there from Blazik.
That's a tough finish right there. That was an up and under. I mean, she had to go up under Obi and get the finish. That was not easy.
Vicky Blazik now with 4 points. Miami trying to cut this thing back to single digits before the 4th quarter. It's been all Kentucky in the 3rd. It's been the Tony Morgan Show. Good feed. Strack getting positioning. Double comes.
Yeah.
Great look to Obi. Post to post.
Well, there you go. You had the help dropped in on Strack, and then Obi cuts to the basket, and that's what has to happen when Strack gets doubled. You have to have players cutting to the basket so she can find them.
11 points, 6 rebounds, 4 assists for Strack. Offensive foul on the screen.
Yeah, we're going to see the double team here on Strack. So she's got to find the open man, and that's Obi's man going over to double. She's in the perfect position to get that layup. But Strack, again, knowing I've got to find that open man. I know I'm doubled. I've got to find the cutter.
Oh, this stat was pretty cool about how Strack impacts the game in so many areas. Only D1 player last season to do each of the following: 25 points, 16 rebounds, 8 assists, 8 blocks, 5 steals, and 3 3-pointers made. So she's done everything in different games all throughout last season and continues to do so here in her junior year. Nice move, just couldn't finish. Raviv on the roll. Kyle going to the line. Couldn't finish the and one opportunity. She'll get to at the charity stripe.
I love the play. I love that play, that screen right there in the elbow area. Raviv gets downhill. You have your post rolling hard. It's just a tough finish. But she gets herself to the free throw line, and that's what you have to do. If you're not scoring at the rim, you've got to find a way to get yourself to the free throw line.
Kyle has 7 points and 9 rebounds. Nearing another double-double. She connects on the first free throw. And to your point, Coach, Miami's only 1 of 13 from beyond the arc.
Yeah.
And to pull off those kinds of upsets, oftentimes teams get hot on their home floor from 3.
Yeah, and they've got some capable three-point shooters. They're just not knocking them down, but there's still a lot of time left on the clock.
Two good free throws from Rashae Kyle. It's an 11-point deficit for Miami. Kentucky can essentially hold for one final shot. Morgan guarded by Tipner. 8 on the clock, now 7. 6-5. Morgan crossover, pivots to her right hand, banks it, and it's off to the right, but she's fouled with 2.3 seconds.
Now look, I'm just going to be really honest right now. I'm not crazy about the shot she took. She did draw the foul. I love that. But I think she could have gotten a better shot. But she did draw the foul. But I'm looking for that and one. Let's get that, the and one.
There was some senior citizen type game there, right? Some old woman game, right?
Oh, yeah.
Off 2 feet, pump fake, crafty.
I mean, she earned it. She went in there and earned it.
You have to respect so many things, though, that she can do well.
Oh, yeah, no doubt. Because she's got up and under and pulls you high, takes you low. She's crafty. But she's really kind of struggled to really finish at the rim today.
Midcourt heave from Adams. Off the front iron. We weren't far off from a midcourt buzzer beater. But Kentucky dominates the third quarter. They lead by 12. Toni Morgan was pure dominance in that third quarter. She had 9 points. She's got 16 total.
Yeah, she did. She came out, looked like a different player after halftime, playing really confident right now, and it just bleeds over onto her teammates.
Strack found herself wide open for 3. Raviv falling onto her back. Looks to be shaken up, slowly gets back. Second chance opportunity.
What great hustle right there by Millie Hassett. And that's what you have to do. You find your places where you contribute, and she is kind of like that blue-collar worker that does a little bit of everything.
Morgan has a mismatch against Kyle, steps back and buries it in her face.
Beautiful shot. She's got that shot. There's no doubt about it, that pull-up jumper.
18 now for Toni. And the Cats lead by 14. Offensive foul. Raviv shot not going to count. And it's an illegal screen.
Well, I think they got her on the roll, so you know it's a really, it's a tough call. It's a tough play for a player. Your coaches set the screen, roll, and then they get you for blocking. You know, like a moving screen on the guard trying to go under you. So unfortunate.
In the corner, the three. That's knocked down. Asia Boone.
Really nice ball movement by Kentucky right there, and Boone does what Boone is supposed to do. She's a knockdown three-point shooter.
Hit 5 of them in their last game against Morgan State, had 21 points in the contest. Asia Boone out of San Diego. Liberty transfer. That triple, not there for the Canes. And they have struggled from beyond the arc, now 1 of 14 on the evening. Hassett will let it rip. Off to the left, rebound collected by Miami. Raviv controls the rock. Feeds it down low. Kyle against Hassett. Gets inside, tries to muscle it up. She's fouled. And we'll go to the line for 2.
It's just been a real struggle for Shea on that block. And she's got maybe a smaller player right there, Hassett, guarding her, but just couldn't. It's just been a struggle for her to score, but at least she does get herself to the free throw line, so that's the positive right there. But nothing's been easy for her. There's been no easy play for her when she gets the ball on the block.
I give Kentucky a lot of credit as well. Not just coming in here, they're up 17, a little over 8 minutes to go, but they're playing their 6th game away from home and out of the state of Kentucky, away from Lexington, learning a lot about their group in unfriendly confines.
Yeah, I have a lot of respect for that, and because it toughens your team up. Now he has a team that can handle being on the road because they're a little bit veteran with a veteran point guard, even though they're a bunch of players that have come together trying to build that chemistry. But that'll toughen you up for conference play for sure. Now, in all fairness, Kenny thought they were going to have this challenge game at home, so he was counting on being in Lexington today instead of on the road, but schedule just didn't work out that way.
Shea Kyle has gotten to the line now 10 times. As you see the talent and the quality of opponents in this challenge.
What a juggernaut. Oh my gosh. You look at that. I have to play all those teams? Yeah. That preparation for playing each one of these teams in the SEC is daunting.
You got players like Clara Strack, though, you're prepared.
Yeah. Look, preparing for Kentucky is tough. Kentucky preparing for all of them, tough. It's just a brutal conference.
Yeah, you got the soldiers, right? You're ready to rock and go to battle in such a tough league, especially when you play defense the way that the Cats have played again tonight. Hassett, unselfish basketball layup is there, and that's key. Another timeout taken by Miami.
See that running in transition, Kentucky, if they get that going, you better watch out.
Tony Morgan has been simply outstanding for Kentucky here tonight.
Well, it really came out after halftime and has put on a show, displayed her skills, finishing strong at the basket, drawing the and ones, knocking down threes. I mean, she is a player that really has the total package. And her teammates are feeding off of her, and that's something that you need from your point guard. You need to be able to bring that energy and give it to your team so they can perform at that level.
6th game in double figures now on the year for Tony Morgan. That tray ball is too strong for the Canes. It goes out and it'll belong to Kentucky. How does Miami find a way back into this one if they are to make it interesting?
Well, I know they had the open look 3 right there, but if that's not the shot, that's the best weapon in your package, you might need to wait and move the ball and see what other kind of shot you have. They're just struggling to score right now. It's been a long day for Rashae Kyle, and that's their leading scorer. And it's just nothing's come easy for her. And that's how they kind of play off of her a little bit. And so it creates some problems within the rest of your offense. But right now, if they can get themselves to the free throw line a little bit, that would be really help them stop the clock, score while that clock's not running.
Do force the turnover. Raviv.
Raviv's been a little quiet, too, in the last part of that third quarter.
Steps behind the screen, fires the three, and on cue.
Well, she just needed a little nudge right there. I guess that gave it to her. But she's so capable of scoring really anywhere and any time on the floor.
So the Israeli national team this summer, the U19 World Cup, averaged over 26 points per game, did Raviv. As a jumper responded to by Morgan, she's got 20. My goodness, is Toni Morgan fun to watch. SEC fans are going to enjoy her. ACC fans got to see her for 3 years at Tech. My partner right next to me, Nell Fortner.
Yeah, she was just a really fun player to coach. Just has the ability to do so many different things on both ends of the floor because she's a phenomenal athlete. I think Kenny Brooks is an excellent coach for her in this last year of her collegiate career, getting her ready for the next level.
Under 6 to play in the game. Miami needs a lot of points in a hurry. As Adams tried her hand from beyond the arc, Kyle, her second chance blocked. I think that was Strack there. But that rebound does give Big Shea Kyle her third straight double-double and the 5th on the year.
Yeah, I know Shea Kyle is a little frustrated right here, thinking she got fouled by Clara Strack, but you got to move on. You know what? The game moves fast. You got to think next play and move on. It's been a long day for Kyle down low, going against Strack.
Yeah, she does have 11 points though, Coach, and has been in double figures in every game this season for the Canes. Offensive foul on Kentucky. And if that's on Boone, it is. It's her 4th. Osho swings it around the horn. Looking inside, Kyle on her right hand. Shot blocked from behind by Strack. And pushed ahead to Morgan, right back to Strack, tie up. And possession arrow will go back to Miami.
You know, Rashay Kyle, you see the frustration on her. She had an opportunity to score. You've got to catch that ball and go up quick or the block's coming. And that just a little bit of a slow release by her and giving Strack time to recover to come from behind to block it. You know, the one thing that Kentucky, you know, obviously we've talked about how good of a team they are, #1 in the country blocking shots. Well, you better know when you get the ball in the paint, that ball better go quick, go up quick. You cannot take your time. You're just letting them set up for the block.
What have you liked from how Kentucky's defended Miami overall?
The energy. They've had great energy, really good team defense, but the energy level has been different in the second half for both ends of the floor for Kentucky.
You lose a player like Georgia Amore and another veteran in Deja Williams. Amore, of course, getting drafted to the Washington Mystic, 6th overall pick in the WNBA draft. But they seem like they've retooled. They've gone to the portal a little bit. Toni Morgan obviously makes a difference. Clara Strack now has another player that can help feed her the ball. She passes the ball well.
Yeah.
Kentucky seems to be tough to beat in many areas.
Well, I think we're going to see them get better and better, too. This is still, their 10th game of the season.
An offensive foul called on Morgan.
That was a really good defensive play to step in there by Miami and take that charge. That's not easy to do, especially on the quickness that Morgan has. But again, yeah, that's not that she stepped in there. She just had position, and Toni got her a little bit of the drop of the shoulder or the hip right there. But I think Kentucky's going to continue. They'll continue to improve. And as their bench comes along, too, I think that's going to be a really important thing for Kentucky is their bench improving as the starting 5 does, too.
Under 10 on the clock. 3-ball launched by Adams. Out of bounds, will stay with the Canes. And Miami trying to get chemistry and leadership. They feel like in that area this group has excelled in a short amount of time with each other. And that's by virtue of a 5-2 record, right? And you've played really well against Iowa, against Oklahoma State, top 25 teams. But Coach Cullip knows that it's going to take a lot of work to be able to compete in the ACC. They do seem like they have the right pieces as well to be competitive in another outstanding league.
Yeah, she has some really nice players. But when you have 12 new players, that's a lot to get on the same page. It takes time. And again, I go back to the word trust. You know, when a team really has a lot of trust in each other, they become better quicker. And it just takes time to build that, to grow that.
Morgan to Key, and she's fouled.
Boy, that was a great look by Tony Devon. See Tiani on the other side of the floor right there.
Third annual ACC SEC Men's Challenge finishes up tonight. Here's our ESPN doubleheader. 6th-ranked Louisville takes on number 25 Arkansas at 7:15 Eastern, followed by number 20 Auburn hosting NC State. A nice way to cap off the ACC SEC Men's Challenge. Tell you what, on the men's side, the SEC dominated last year. Good to see at least last night the ACC got 6 wins and got right back into it. A lot of teams did a lot of retooling this offseason via the NIL, via the portal.
Look, that's the world of college basketball. Everybody's going to be retooling every year. It's almost like you have to look at it like a one and done year in and year out. Just the way the rules are, how easy it is to go from, you know, jump in that portal and go from one team to the other. So building, getting your team playing well and together as quick as possible is really important.
A little over 3 minutes left for win number 9 for the Kentucky Wildcats. Trying to close this thing out on the road at the Watsco Center in Coral Gables. They have been stifling on defense, and you see why they're top 5 in the country in defensive points per game. And not their best offensive night, yet they were able to lean on their defense, and defense travels.
That's right.
Especially on the road.
Defense always travels. If you've got the guts for it, and the heart, and the fight, absolutely, it'll keep you in ball games. I remember my first team at Georgia Tech. We weren't great offensively, but we were great defensively. So we were always in every game. So if you can count on that, you're going to be in every game.
They've held Miami to 31% from the floor. They call an offensive foul on Morgan. Instead, she pushed off. Huh. That's her 4th foul. So her and Boone now with 4.
Wow, there wasn't a whole lot there, but the whistle blew, so you got to move on. Next play. I asked Tony today what was one thing she feels like she's improved on, and that was one of the things she told me. She goes, I think I've gotten better at next play, at moving on, because she could hang on to something for a long time.
Adams shuffled her feet. Her foot slid, and it's another turnover for the Canes, number 15 on the evening.
We're seeing Josie Gilvin in the game for the first time, and this is, again, an opportunity for a bench player to come in and get their feet wet here and get some minutes.
Boone all alone in the corner, too strong on the 3. Long rebound saved by Blue.
Great hustle by Lexi Blue right there. And great job by her teammate chasing her down where she was so she had someone to kick it back to.
6 on the clock, Boone. Pick and pop, Hassett lets it fly off to the left. Rebound collected by Adams. Substitution timeout as Pellish will come in. Now, how do you see both of these teams fitting into their leagues?
Well, I really think Miami's going to get better. There's no question. They struggled today, but they struggled against a team that is a really good defensive team. And now, look, I think that we learn our best lessons in a loss. And you can go back and really pick apart and see exactly what you're struggling at. Where are they going to get Rashay Kyle the ball, you know, in better places for her to have the ability to score the ball? Because she really, Kentucky did a good job of taking away any of her moves. It just was a long afternoon for her.
Simone Bellish, the freshman from Poughkeepsie, New York, in the game getting some action. What would your message be to the Miami team if you were coaching them as you try to respond for the rest of the year?
Look, you're gonna be okay. You've got the players that you can compete in the ACC, and there's no question about it. You've got strong block presence. You've got a point guard who is excellent. And it's now just, again, I know I've said this a lot today, but playing together and building that chemistry and trust is really, really important. And then the coaches, they do their job, putting players in the right position, running the things that they need to run to score points. But look, they proved to us in the first half that they can defend hard. They were really, really good defensively. And then Kentucky turned the volume up in the second half.
Good to see Josie Gilvin getting in to the scorers column there, too. What do you make of this Kentucky team?
Again, I think I really like them. I think it's that bench has to come along and develop, and because the season is long, and these starters, you know, they're playing big minutes, and you want to be able to rest them when you can. But they are so skilled and so versatile at what they do. That's what I like a lot. I think Tiana Key's versatile. Strack, their 4 and their 5 player are so versatile. And they're big, and that length it definitely matters.
I'm intrigued to see how both of these teams factor into their conference races. Obviously, Kentucky defensively flexes their muscle, but I think Miami's got a little bit of something to surprise a few folks in the ACC. They're going to shoot better than 2 of 18 from beyond the arc.
They are. Rashay Kyle's going to have better days than she had today. Look, she impresses me this way. She can defend. That is a big presence defending a post player. And in this league, in the league she's going up again, there's some really good post players in the ACC.
Miami excited about a top 10 recruiting class coming in next year as well. So the future bright in Coral Gables for Trisha Cullop and the Canes. One final attempt. Kimson, she's fouled. And we'll go to the line with 3.3 seconds. We'll have NC State and Oklahoma coming up shortly.
You know, that move by Kimson right there shows you the speed and quickness that she has, the ability to play off the bounce. And we saw some of that earlier in the game. And I think as Miami continues to gel, they can use those guards in that way a lot during their conference season. That kind of thing opens up your post players on the block. That kind of thing really gives, you know, you have to bring help down there. And then now you got Kyle open down there on the block. So there's a lot of things that Miami can continue to improve on.
Well, win number 9 on the year for Kentucky and win number 3 for the SEC. Kenny Brooks Cats look strong on the road. We want to thank our statistician, John Shimshuk, Brad Kinfield, and Drew Thomas. For Nell Fortner, I'm Mario Masudi. Back to the studio. Kelsey, Megan, floor is yours.